Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you some tips on how to improve your art. And in the background I'm going to be drawing Keith and Sophie from Keeper of the Lost Cities book series. Because I actually haven't done any fan art in a long time, so I thought this would be a good opportunity. So let's just get on into it. Tip number 1, don't compare yourself to other artists. I do this sometimes as well, and I know some other artists do too. Sometimes you could be like, oh, I wish my art looked like theirs. I wish my art looked as good as theirs. Why does my art not look that good? My art doesn't look like good at all. You just compare yourself, wishing your art looked like theirs. But they're on a totally different, unique art style than yours. Like, you have a unique art style, we all do. So, like, don't compare yourself, because your art is amazing and you're on your own unique art journey. Tip number 2, try using a pen or a paint pen and just do a little sketch or a doodle or something, because after you do that for a while and you can't erase it, it can actually help with you doing line art, because you can't erase your line art and it can help you get better with that. And for me anyways, when I would use a paint pen to like fill in a whole page of my sketchbook, I really wouldn't worry about mistakes or like tiny little mistakes. I wouldn't worry about tiny details either. I would just make a face and then like create the body and just like go with the flow and just have a little fun, because I didn't need to erase it. I couldn't erase it. And I just like went with the flow and just had some fun. And it was just really like a stress relieving thing, because you didn't have to worry about your mistakes or anything. You just drew it. And I think we all do this, even I do this sometimes, is we treat our sketchbooks as if we can't do a single bad thing in it. When I mean bad thing, I mean a bad drawing per se. We can't do a doodle that we think is weird or just anything. It has to be full masterpieces, and it can put a lot of stress on the drawing environment, to where you just don't want to draw unless you have a masterpiece, because you don't want to put something ugly or just not good in your sketchbook. And that's where the permanent pen comes into play, because you can't erase it and you just have fun with it, because art really revolves around fun, because it's something you do for fun, if it is, of course. But I think most people do it for fun, and it should just be something that you enjoy and want to do. So when you make art fun, it's easier to create new things and grow in your art, because it's a fun, happy time. And I might say fun, or yeah, I'm definitely gonna say the word fun about 1,000,000 times, but tip number 3 is break your art into shapes. Like, break it down into shapes. Not too many shapes though, because if you break it down into too many shapes, it can become confusing and hard. But break it down into like big, blockier shapes, so you can get the form of the object that you're trying to draw, but not too many shapes to where it can be confusing. Tip number 4 would be draw from life. And when I first heard this, when I would watched an artist and they first said this, I was like, no way, I'm a beginner artist and that is for like professional people to do. But then I started thinking about it just recently, and I was like, well, you could get a small object like a nail polish bottle or a little succulent plant that you have, or just any small object that's simple, and break it down into small shapes. If you have a washable marker that you could draw on it with, if you're allowed to, of course, draw on it and make some blocky shapes and like see how it looks. And then you can put it on your paper as like a 3D object, and it's pretty simple that way. And when I mean put it on your paper, of course you'd have to replicate what you just drew on the object, and replicate it by drawing it, not just like put it on the paper. And of course, as time goes by and you start to draw from life more, you'll be able to do more complex things and do basically whatever you want to do. Just start with simple things, because it'll be easier that way and not. Tip number 5 is watch tutorials. I know this might seem like a weird question or just like a duh question, but some people actually think like it's cheating to watch a tutorial or you shouldn't do it. But if you're struggling with a part of art like hands or just something that you're struggling with art, don't be afraid to watch a tutorial. There's no shame in doing that. Tip number 6, use references. And before you guys go like, oh, that's stealing art and that's bad, it's not stealing art if you're just using references to simply help you. If you're tracing somebody else's art and claiming it as your own, yes, that is stealing somebody's art and you should not do that. But if you're simply using a reference to help you out with a certain part of your drawing, like if you're using a person reference for a pose, that is not bad. But I would suggest using like a real life photo that somebody's taken and not a drawing, because that's their drawing and it could be considered like stealing their art or something. So I would just stick to like Google or Pinterest. You can find real photos, like real people, or like or like a still life or a prop photo, and just like stick to those type of photos. And it's not bad to use references. Sometimes references can actually help because you're like, oh, I want to learn how to draw hands. So you pull up a picture of hands, somebody's hands, and then you could be like, oh, they look this way. Or you could always use your own hand. Or if you're working on facial expressions, you could always like take a picture of yourself doing facial expressions, or just something along those lines. Tip number 7, do some warm-up drawings. If you've actually not drawn in a minute, sometimes like with the first drawing you do not going to be the greatest. And that's alright. Sometimes you just need to do a few warm-up drawings before you get like a spark of creativity on what big drawing to do. So give yourself maybe like 20 minutes or maybe 10 minutes just to do like a few little sketches just of something that you want to draw, just to like spark some like good ideas. Tip number 8 is do a timed drawing. This can help with like time management, because I know I spend like so long on a sketch of a drawing and then so long on everything. So this can help with time management, so you're not taking like 3 days to do one drawing. So give yourself like a time limit, and don't like try to do it good, but don't worry about like perfect details. Just try to get like a good drawing down and just work on your time management skills, so you don't spend like 2 hours or like 3 days or something on one drawing, because sometimes I do that. Tip number 8 is get out of your comfort zone. Jump out of the comfort zone of that tiny little box of all your favorite little ideas, because we all do it. But try something different. Try like a new medium that you've not tried, or just like a different type of drawing, like stippling or cross-hatching, or just like do something that you've never done before. Tip number 9, if you're a digital artist, this will definitely help you, and if you're not, this will still help you a lot too, is learn about lighting, because lighting can really affect the way you shade and just do everything with your drawing. Because I know we all don't just do like flat colors, and if you do, you still want a little bit of like a shadow, or just like a little highlight, or just like you put your gel pen somewhere along those lines, but you're going to need to know where the light source is coming from to do that. And it can help you in a lot of different ways. If you're doing a digital drawing, it can like be the main focus of the drawing, but if you're doing a traditional drawing, it can still really help your drawing. Tip number 10, I know I was just telling you not to like worry about the mistakes in your art and like worry about the mess ups, but if look at your art, if there's something you don't like about it, or there's something you just want to change, like see what you can do to improve it. Don't just be like, oh, I hate my art style, I hate my art. See what you can to improve it. If you don't like the way you draw arms, figure out how can I improve the way I draw my arms. Or you don't like the way you draw eyes, how can I improve the way I draw eyes, and what style do I want to do it in? Do I want to do it more realistically or anime? And if you don't have anything you dislike about your art, that's amazing too, and just keep loving your art. Tip number 11, keep practicing consistently and all the time. Don't just stop practicing art for a while and then expect your art to be super good because you've not practiced in a while. So keep consistently practicing and trying new things and doing all sorts of different things with your art, and keep growing and learning and just basically trying. Because if you don't practice your art, then you're not going to get better. Tip number 12, this is following up with my last tip, is keep trying. Even if your art isn't where you want to be, or if it's just looking really bad in your eyes. I know your art doesn't look bad, but we all think our art looks bad at some point. So if your art is looking bad, or you think it looks bad, don't give up, keep trying. Because eventually, you're going to look back on those times and be like, oh, I really do love this art, because it's just the simple little doodles that I used to do. So if these voiceovers start to sound a little strange, it's because I've been like talking for like no joke like 12 minutes straight. And I've had to like redo several of these voiceovers a bunch of times. So it might sound kind of weird, or my voice might sound like I've been talking for like a year. It's because I've had to keep redoing these. Tip number 13, if you're getting a little bit bored with your art style or just with your art in general, maybe try to like change it up, try to change your style up, or just see what you want to do different. And if you're getting a little bored just drawing the same things, try branching out, try drawing animals or like types of trees, or just like doing some art challenges like the 1 minute 10-second challenge, or just like art challenges or like art contests. You can do a bunch of those and just like refresh your art style and just like have fun with it. And thank you guys so much for watching this video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss when I post a video. And if you guys like these tips, please tell me which one was your favorite in the comments.